Hey guys, it's Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. This is the second part on the series of why I do what I do. And again, the original concept behind this series was to um, help my daughter, right? Help my daughter learn how to trade. And so even if this helped nobody else, it would help her out. And with the internet, everyone's asking me to, cut it down to 3 minutes and do it really fast. And you know what? I kind of thought about that, and I said, you know what? I can't cut all this down to 3 minutes necessarily. I can break it into chunks, but I cannot break it down to 3 minutes in time. So I'm going to set my iPhone timer here and see if I can't keep it reasonable. But if I can't, it goes longer. That's all right. Everyone can just always turn it off if they don't like it. But hopefully, I'm sharing some knowledge, hard-won knowledge, 20 years worth of knowledge, not just with my daughter, but with anyone out there who wants to learn how to be a great trader. And my hope is, and this is to my daughter Mia, my hope is, sweetie, that my hope and my heart's desire is that you find someone who will, be wealthy prince on a white horse, right? Why wouldn't anyone want that for their daughter, who loves you from day one until the day you die? But that doesn't always happen in life, right? And my job is to make sure of two things. First, that you get well educated and you have a great household, but I feel my bigger responsibility is to teach you how to make money in the market. And so in this series, as I said, I believe in mentorship. Mentorship is huge. Coaching is huge in any business. And I couldn't always afford to go out and have my own trading coach. I have my two trading coaches, as a matter of fact, right now, and they're massive helps. But I could always surround myself with greatness, right? I have sets of books here. I have books here, there, everywhere, as Dr. Seuss might say. But I have, Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. I want to know, what is it that made other people so super successful? How can I get that? Well, he cites that 10-year rule. Well, I've got 20, and I'm still working hard on being a great trader. Dr. Steenbarger, right? Psychology of Trading, great book. Again, Dr. Steenbarger, the daily trading coach. Mark Douglas, the disciplined trader. I could surround myself with all these guys, right? But then something was interesting about that, and actually, I'm going to turn to my Kindle for this one, and that is Jack Swagger, and he wrote the Market Wizard series, and a fantastic series, highly recommended for anybody who wants to learn what it is that makes great traders tick, right? Even if it's not your style of trading, or that you don't have the amount of capital you would like to have to trade with that these guys did, it gives you, set your sight on a goal. It kind of lets you imagine yourself in their shoes and what it is that they did to become great at trading. And so, sweetie, that's what I want you to do, is I want you to learn that you too can be a great trader. I thoroughly believe that. Trading is a learned skill. And just like in any sport, you don't have to be the best player out there. If you're the 12th man on a basketball team, you still make millions of dollars. If you're midway through the roster on a professional football team, you still make millions of dollars. The 50th best golfer in the world, the 100th best golfer in the world, makes a fantastic living. So let's jump into this and see what it is that Mr. Swigert had to say. And I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, but it's the author of The Market Wizards, The New Market Wizards. And as you know, I'm totally dyslexic and ADD, so bear with me on this because I think this is a very important lesson here. So we're going to pick up here, and he's talking about the intro and why he wrote this book. And he's talking about how he had just taken his account to $100,000 from a small account to a large account. He writes, he goes, "Then the streak ended. I found myself trading more impulsively, failing to follow the rules I had learned. In retrospect, I believe I'd just become too cocky. In particular, I remember a losing trade in soybeans. Instead of taking my loss when the market moved against me, I was so convinced that the decline was a reaction in a bull market that I substantially increased my position." Wow. Which of us, when we've been learning to trade, has not made that exact same trading error? I know at some points in my career I just said it simply can't keep going down. I remember when I was caught on the wrong way in Qualcomm way back when, that I just said it's got to come back. I remember thinking that at every point it would roll against me that I didn't want to cover. It's got to come back. So I know exactly how that feels. And then he says the mistake was compounded by taking this action in front of an important government crop report. The report came out bearish, and my equity took a dramatic decline. In a matter of days, I had surrendered over 1/4 of my cumulative profits. Right? Just which of us hasn't been? I challenge you to find a trader who hasn't been in that position. I just think it describes so many traders, both professional and amateur, out there. Then he goes on and says, after cashing in my chips to buy a house and later taking a year-long sabbatical to write a book, my savings were sufficiently depleted to defer my re-entry into trading for nearly 5 years. Imagine, this is a guy who was successful, guys. This guy had made a lot of money trading, right? Sweet, think about it. He had come in, day out. He started his account with a sub $10,000 account and drove it all the way up tenfold to a $100,000 account. He knew what he was doing, right? He had the right market. This is a smart guy. This is not some, hey, I put it all on black and rolled the roulette wheel. He came in day after day and did this, and still he was caught in what Dr. Steenbarger often talks about, which is the multi-year boom-bust cycle that's just killer for traders. Let's go on and see what else he has to say, because I think this is massively important. This may actually be the most important part of trading information that anyone can ever have, because he talks about the heartbreak. Yeah, when I grab my heart, I've had the same heartache. Believe me, I understand. It's so painful to be successful and all of a sudden seem to have it all just melt away, right? So let's go on. He goes, 5 years, takes a 5-year sabbatical, right? That's a long time to take away from trading. Then he goes, when I began trading again, typical to my usual custom, I started with a small amount, $8,000. Most of this money was lost over the course of a year. I added another 8. So think about it. He had lost a huge chunk of money. He got scared, got out, bought a house. He said, hey, at least I'm going to get something out of this. I'm going to buy a house, right? He took a 5-year break. He saved up another $8,000, and this is probably way back in the 80s, if I have this right from when this book was written, and put it back in the market. And then he lost it, right? Think about it. Can you imagine how hard, I can only imagine how hard I would be on myself if that happened to me. I'd made all this money. I was successful. I took 5 years off. I thought I addressed all my issues. I put this $8,000 back together. I put it in, and I lost every penny of it. Thin air, right? Then he goes, and he adds another $8,000. But this time he goes, after some further moderate setbacks, eventually scored a few big winning trades. Within about 2 years, notice at this point he still hasn't talked about a trade plan or a journal or any of the things that keep you balanced yet, okay? Within about 2 years, I had once again built my trading account up to over $100,000. I subsequently stalled out, and during the past year, my account equity had fluctuated below this peak. Although, objectively, my trading has been successful, on an emotional level, I often view it with a sense of failure. Because, and this is important, I feel that given my market knowledge and experience, I should have done better. Okay, this one line, given my market knowledge and experience, I should have done better. Then he goes, why? I ask myself. Have I been able to multiply a sub $10,000 account more than tenfold on 2 occasions, yet unable to expand the equity much beyond that level, let alone by any multiples? Okay, and before I read on, I want to answer that question because I think I can answer that question. Number one, the challenges to trading are just as much about a practical application of understanding how the market works, right? So we have how the market works over here. You've read all the books, you understand technical market, you understand all the pieces that go into making the market go up and the market go down and why, right? Then you have this hand, right? This hand holds all your emotional baggage, all the expectations you have from trading, all the demands on your life, right? All the bills you have to pay, all the nice cars you want to drive, the nice house you want to have. And then also there's another part that I know from personal experience, which is when you make a lot of money trading, right? When you make a lot of money trading, you expect yourself to continually advance that, right? And so let's go on and see what he said up to this, and I'm going to answer the question. But let me answer the question before I read on. Let me answer the question. The solution to this problem is very straightforward. Number one, you get a trading coach. You get a second set of eyes on your trading someone who's a counterbalance, who can move you back to the middle when you get off center, right? Someone who can tell you, hey, go take a walk. Someone who can tell you, it was just a bad day. Come back and repeat your trade plan the next day. Someone who can put their hand on your shoulder, right? Just what my dad did for me, what my trading coaches do for me today, and say, hey, it's just one bad trade. You'll come back tomorrow, you'll follow your trade plan, you'll know your edge, and you'll make your money, okay? The other part of it is that he didn't have his statistics in hand, is going to be my guess, right? I don't know if he says that. But all my trades I have put out on a spreadsheet. I know which ones have the highest odds and which ones have the lowest odds. I know exactly where I want to focus, and I have a basket, not of stocks, not of equity indexes, not of commodities that I trade. I have a basket of trades that I can switch out. Some work great in trending markets, some work great in balanced markets. And they're like interchanging pieces. Imagine if you picked up blocks, right? And you had to stack those blocks on top of each other, right? Well, in trading, those blocks have to be moved around, right? They kind of get shuffled around like the coconut, and like the coconut game where they move all the pieces. Your building blocks, your trading blocks, your trades, your setups have to be able to be interchanged, right? Not so that they're different trades, they're just the right trade for the right market, right? So let's pick back up. And had he had, and again, this is directed directly at my daughter, Sweet, if he had his list of trades for what worked best in what markets, what was failing, when he should stop trading that trade and pick up another trade, right? If he had tied in his emotional expectation and actually had a trade plan for increasing trade size and decreasing trade size, right? He would not have to suffer these dramatic drawdowns, is my opinion. Not everyone has to do it my way, but I have a specific way of increasing my trade size, and I have a specific formula I follow to increase that trade size, and that is what carries you through that threshold of when you get to a number that's so big. For him, it was apparently $100,000. For me, I had a stumbling block around $300,000, and I had another one at $1 million. But when you get through those stumbling blocks, what carries you through that? Well, if you're all about the process, you forget about the numbers, right? The process says you do this. It's the exact same setup, and you're kind of going through your checklist. Atul Gawande's The Checklist Manifesto. If I haven't given it to you yet, Mia, please go pick up a copy and read it. You should have a checklist. Are you following the process? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are from the brightest minds in the world, right? This guy, Atul Gawande, is a surgeon, and he needed a checklist to do his surgeries right. You're a trader. You need a checklist to make sure you're doing your trades correctly and that they are setting you up in a way that'll let you win. So then he goes on to say, let's pick back up. Why, I asked myself, have I been able to multiply a sub $10,000 account more than tenfold on 2 occasions, yet unable to expand the equity much beyond that level, let alone by any multiples? A desire to find the answers was one of my motivations for writing this book. I wanted to ask those traders who had already succeeded, what are the key elements to your success? What approach do you use in the markets? What trading rules do you adhere to? What were your own early trading experiences? What advice would you give to other traders? Well, on one level, my search for answers was a personal quest to help surpass my own barriers. In a broader sense, I saw myself as every man asking the questions I thought others would ask if given the opportunity. Jack D. Swagger. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Jack. Please forgive me if I'm getting it wrong. I love your books. I love your work you've done. A Complete Guide to the Futures Market. Okay, and that was 1984, right? This is 1984. Guys, the knowledge you're looking for it's in the books. It's in traders like myself who are willing to help you, and there's a lot of good traders out there. It's in the trading coaches, right? But Mia, here's the deal. If I'm, for whatever reason, not available to you, this is what I want you to do. Go get an experienced trading coach who just works with a head. Go get an experienced trading mentor who's a great trader, who's willing to sit down and step you through the process step by step, right? Because everything you're struggling with today, I've already gone through, other great traders have already gone through, right? If you'll follow your process, which I've learned, right? Process, the money will follow. It feels great to make a lot of money, but the money is just a derivative of doing a great job following your process. Keep spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are critically important to keeping your your head in the game and taking your highest odds trades and not getting